When heaven and earth were first created, the world took on a magnificent new form. Waves rolled across the seas, crashing against the shores. Fish chased one another freely through the waters. Birds spread their wings and sang in the skies, and herds of animals thrived upon the land, yet the world still lacked a soulful, higher being to rule over it. Thus Prometheus, the forethinker, came down to the earth. A descendant of the gods, he was a Titan, the son of Iapetus, who was born of Gaia, the Earth Mother, and Uranus, the Sky Father. Blessed with supreme intelligence, Prometheus knew that the seeds of heavenly life lay dormant within the earth. He scooped up the clay, blended it with river water, and molded it into human form, shaping it after the likeness of the gods who ruled the universe. To breathe life into these clay figures, he took both good and evil traits from the hearts of various animals and sealed them deep within the human chest. Among the deities, Athena, the goddess of wisdom, was his friend. Amazed by Prometheus's creation, she breathed her divine breath into the clay figure, which was hitherto only half alive. With that divine breath, the clay animation acquired a soul. Thus, the first generation of humans was born. However, for a long time, though humans multiplied and spread across the globe, they knew not how to use their limbs or their God-given souls. They looked but did not see. They listened but did not hear, wandering aimlessly like sleepwalkers across the earth. They knew nothing of how to utilize the world around them. They knew not how to quarry stone or bake bricks, nor how to fell timber to build shelters. Like ants, they lived in chaotic swarms, dwelling in sunless caves deep underground. They were blind to the turning of the seasons, unaware of the blossoming of spring, the fruits of summer, or the bitter cold of winter. Whatever they did without a plan. Seeing this, Prometheus once again reached out to aid mankind. He taught them to observe the rising and setting of the stars, the sun, and the moon. He invented mathematics and writing, enabling them to calculate and communicate. He taught them to domesticate wild beasts, yoking oxen to bear their heavy labors, and bridling horses to pull chariots or serve as mounts. He invented ships and sails, guiding humanity to navigate the open seas. His devotion to mankind was boundless. Before his intervention, when people fell ill, they knew nothing of medicine. They died miserably from a lack of remedies. Ignorant of what to eat or drink to ease their suffering, Prometheus taught them to compound various medicinal herbs to banish disease. He taught them prophecy, the interpretation of dreams, the reading of bird flights, and the signs of sacrificial omens. He guided them to prospect underground minerals, discovering iron, silver, and gold. He bestowed upon humanity every art and craft, making their lives comfortable and secure. Zeus, the supreme ruler of the gods, commanded all celestial phenomena, especially the thunder and lightning. He was revered as an absolute monarch, yet he was also consumed by earthly desires, frequently entangling himself in mortal affairs. Many of the greatest heroes and beauties of Greek mythology, such as Heracles, Perseus, and Helen, were the offspring of his legendary affairs. Zeus had banished his father, Cronus, overthrowing the old regime to establish his own authoritarian rule. Once the celestial hierarchy was secured, the gods turned their attention to the newly formed human race. They were willing to protect mankind, but in return, they demanded absolute submission. One day, a great assembly convened at Macon to settle the exact rights and obligations of humanity. Prometheus attended the meeting as the steadfast advocate for mankind. To ensure that the gods would not impose an unbearable burden on humans in exchange for protection, the clever Titan devised a plan to outwit the divine assembly. On behalf of humanity, he slaughtered a massive bull and invited the gods to choose their portion. He divided the carcass into two piles. In one pile, he placed the rich meat, entrails, and fat, but cleverly concealed them beneath the uninviting hide and the beast's stomach. In the other pile, he artfully wrapped the bare bones inside a thick layer of rich white suet, making it appear larger and far more desirable. Zeus saw through the trick and said mockingly, "Son of Iapetus, noble king, my good friend, how unfairly you have divided the sacrifice." But Prometheus, believing he had successfully deceived the supreme god, smiled inwardly and replied, "Most noble Zeus, eternal king of the gods, please choose whichever pile your heart desires." Though furious, Zeus maintained an outward appearance of calm. He deliberately reached out and took the pile of gleaming white fat. Stripping away the outer layer, the bare, picked bones were revealed. Pretending to have just discovered the deception, he turned on Prometheus in anger. "I see, my friend. It seems you have still not forgotten your deceptive trickeries." To punish Prometheus for his prank, an enraged Zeus withheld from humanity the final, most essential essential element for survival: fire. Yet, the resourceful Prometheus quickly devised a brilliant remedy. He snapped off a long, thick stalk of fennel. As the chariot of the sun raced across the heavens, he thrust the stalk into its blazing path, catching a spark of the celestial flame. He then brought the flickering ember safely back down to earth. Soon, the first stacks of firewood caught flame on earth. The roaring fires blazed high, lighting up the night sky. Looking down from the heavens, Zeus saw the flames rising from the mortal realm, and he fell into a towering rage. Prometheus stands as the premier hero of Greek mythology. In classical art, he is traditionally depicted as a powerfully built, rebellious man, descending from the heavens with the divine flame in hand. The discovery of fire marks the true dawn of human civilization. In early human religions and philosophies, fire held a supreme sacred status, evident in the Persian Zoroastrian fire temples, and in the doctrine of the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus, who posited that all things originate from fire. It is equally essential in the Eastern concepts of the 5 elements and the 8 trigrams. Fire is a stunning paradox. It exists purely as a process of combustion. It is neither solid nor liquid. It ignites in a flash and vanishes in an instant. Yet, within the narrative of Greek mythology, this dancing flame was ultimately sublimated into an eternal monument, the ultimate symbol of the sacrificial archetype, defying tyranny to bring light to the dark.